Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we are going to be going over a 2014 Ford F-150 Raptor, but not just any Raptor. This is a Stage 2 Roush Raptor, so it has a supercharger under the hood. Pretty crazy truck. First and foremost, so a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with this truck. Check out the inventory in the description down below, and if you want to purchase this truck, they have it right now. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a supercharged 6.2 liter V8 that goes through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 590 horsepower and then 590 pound-feet of torque. And you guys can see the little Roush logo right there. Sorry, the hood's a little bit dusty. This truck just got traded in. Hasn't even been looked at by a mechanic or anything like that. But yeah, pretty cool setup to see. Now let's go over the front end of the truck. So you guys can see we've got the venting here on either side of the hood. We've got the F-150 Raptor SVT logo right there with the projector bulbs. And then you guys can see the marker lights there on the grille and then on the sides. And then notice how we have the Raptor off-road bumper with the skid plate and the tow hooks. And you guys can see the skid plate action underneath there. But overall, I mean, even to this day, it is still a really good looking truck from a front end perspective. Now coming around the side here, we've got 17-inch wheels, and wrapped around that we have 35s in the front and over in the rear as well. These wheels are beadlock capable. And then here's a quick look at the front suspension. And then if I pop under here, you guys can kind of see the shocks as well. And yeah, that's everything for that part. We've got our 6.2L badge here. We've got our SVT badge, got the off-road side steps. And as you guys can see, we don't have any Roush stickers or badges on the outside here. So like, it just looks like a regular Gen 1 Raptor. We have another Raptor decal there on the back. And then you guys can see the Fox shocks here in the rear. And since this is a Gen 1, it still has the leaf springs obviously there in the back. And well, that's all for that. Now here's our key fob for the truck. We got the Ford logo there on the back with the unlock, the lock, and then the remote start as well. Now the payload was originally over 1,000 pounds with the truck, but I imagine with the added weight of the supercharger, that's gone down a bit. And then you guys can see we have Ford's original bed step system, and then this also has like the whole gate system as well. We've got some snow in the bed. No extra charge for that, guys. No extra charge for the snow. Also, these old tailgates are a little bit heavier than the new ones. Now the last thing to go over is the rear end of the truck. So obviously we have the oversized fenders and fender flares here. We've got the older school style taillights. We've got the marker lights here in the back, another Raptor SVT logo, parking sensors here on the rear with the tow hooks, and then the receiver hitch there in the center. And like I said, overall, it's a good looking truck, but it just looks like a regular Gen 1. Now here's a door panel in the rear. We have the blue accent trim, and then you guys can see we've got the blue Raptor seats, which I am a huge fan of. We've got the Raptor logo there, and then I like the cloth trim on either side, and then you've got the perforated leather here down the center. Notice how we've got some vents back here and a 12-volt, some cup holders as well. You can see the back seat area is very spacious here with the Gen 1, and well, see ya. Now let's go over the door panel here at the front. So again, you guys can see pretty basic material-wise, but you've got the blue trim again, and these mirrors do power fold in. Notice how we've got the window controls here, the Sony sound system, and then you guys can see here the seats here in the front, again, blue stitching with the Raptor logo. Really nice bolstering. The seats are actually very comfortable, very nicely worn in. And then you guys can see you've got the adjustments here on the side of the seat. Got the pedals down below, and then we've got our light controls here. We've got the Roush boost gauge because again, it's supercharged. And there's where I'm looking for you pop in. Gotta stick in the key fob. Oh, V8. So here is the steering wheel. We still have the marker there at the top and then leather all around, and it actually has really good grip points for your fingers and everything, which are great for off-roading. Notice we've got like volume, voice command controls, and all that fun stuff. You got controls for the center here, and then we've got our turn signal / windshield wiper stalk. And then you guys can see here with the center screen itself, it is a little bit, again, on the older school style of things, but I think overall it's still held up pretty well. I love the Raptor SVT logo right there. It has all the information you need anyways, so like, you know what, it's practical. But that's all for that. Now this does have an infotainment system, and if we pop it in reverse, you got a backup camera with trajectory lines. They don't turn with the steering wheel, but I mean, it has trajectory lines, which is definitely a nice thing. Aside from that, you guys can see the infotainment system. It has heated and cooled seats. Now response time on this is obviously not going to be the greatest, but I mean, you guys can see it at least works and, you know, feels somewhat modern. Stability control buttons there at the top. I recommend keeping that on for the first little bit because, well, this truck breaks loose quite a bit. We have our driveline select right here. So you got your 2-wheel high, 4-wheel high, 4-wheel low. And then you notice we have the locker there for the rear. And this is a big benefit of this over the TRX because the TRX doesn't have 2-wheel drive at all. So this, you get a little bit more of that, you know, 2-wheel drive spin fun. Trailer brake controls down below. We've got our analog controls for the media stuff. Climate controls as well. This has dual zone climate. We've got the auxiliary switches down here. Definitely cool. Hill descent control right there, and then our off-road mode. We have the shifter for that 6-speed automatic. There is a manual shift function with that. And then you guys can see the center console here. Not as big as what you have with the new F-150s. And then you guys can see here, just have the airbag here, regular glove box, and then some extra storage right there with the 12-volt. And then popping here at the top, got a sunglass holder and a sunroof. So I mean, it's, you know, pretty loaded up. Now, I'm sure you guys are wondering about price on this truck. So this truck has just over 120,000 miles. Now, it hasn't gone through shop or inspection yet, but my best guess is after everything is said and done, I'm guessing this truck's gonna be priced somewhere in the $40,000 range, maybe high 30s. I don't exactly know. That's just my personal guess. But again, link in the description down below to the Ford and Provo's website so you guys can see the most up-to-date price on this truck. And let's take it out and drive it. So let's talk about visibility before we set off. There's your visibility over the hood, both of the mirrors, throughout the rest of the rear, and let's set off. We are setting off here in this Roush Raptor, and let me tell you, this thing is rumbly. And if you guys don't follow my channel for some reason, I own a Gen 3 Raptor and I also own a Ram TRX. So I feel like I have the right to make proper impressions on the Roush Raptor, well, the Gen 1 Roush Raptor. First off, sounds amazing. The exhaust is definitely just super beefy, super rumbly. It's got a really good tone to it overall. And of course, hit a massive amount of traffic. One thing I want to mention, getting in this, is some of this stuff definitely looks old, definitely looks dated, but there's quite a bit to this that still feels relatively modern. Like I get in the truck and I don't necessarily feel like I'm in like a super old vehicle, even though at this point this truck is almost like 8 years old, and then the Gen 1 Raptor is even older than that. Oh man, that sounds good. You can tell this has so much power and torque. It pushes hard. I am going to let it warm up for a little bit here, so I'm going to do a little bit of just normal driving, and then trust me, we'll get into it, and I'm sure it'll be exciting with the power that this truck puts out. Now, from a handling perspective, oh my goodness, this shows how far Ford has come since the first generation Raptor, and also, you know, how crazy the Ram TRX is. Because this truck weighs about 6,000 pounds. This is about the same weight as a TRX. And you feel it, the weight just, it's really hefty, and the steering isn't all that direct, especially, again, compared to the TRX. And the Gen 3 Raptor has the best steering in the business, is what I'd have to say. And yeah, that's where this truck kind of shows its age compared to the newer ones, is with the handling and everything. It feels more boat-like. This feels more like a truck. It really does. I guess some of you might like that, and others might not necessarily be so fond. Other than that, though, I mean, as a daily driver, this thing would be great. The suspension's really smooth. Going over these little, like, snow pile things. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the tire pressure is set at right now, but, I mean, you can feel a little bit through the suspension, but, I mean, this is comfortable. Like, this would be a great daily driver, to be honest. Yeah, just how this is, super comfortable. The interior is quiet. The seat's really comfortable. The seats hold you in place really well. Again, even for being 8 years old and having 120,000 miles on it, this thing feels really nice. And I do believe this truck has not gone through their service department yet. So like this truck is right now is as is, and you know, being traded in, and whoever owned this took really good care of it. Actually, this is it's a clean truck. So we're gonna get up and get moving a little bit more here. Yeah, this thing is powerful. Again, don't worry, I'm gonna get a full-on, like full throttle acceleration for today's video in a little bit. I'm just making sure that everything's kind of warmed up enough so that it's all working right, which we're pretty much at that point. Another comment I'm gonna make is just how, and I kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, just how far Ford has come with the suspension and shocks, because like this floats around so much more than the new Raptor. The new Raptor really feels like a sports truck. Like it's tight, especially when you go around corners, bumps, and everything just stays so planted with that coil suspension, the new live valve. Whereas this, on the other hand, you can feel the chassis just floating all over the place. And yeah, it's just crazy how much progress Ford has made over the generations. And let's do it. Oh, wow. Well, definitely broke the tires loose. I can say that. This isn't as quick as like a Ram TRX. I will say that. It's not TRX level of acceleration. But man, does that thing, this moves. Wow. It's a lot quicker than I thought it would be, considering the power figures. But wow, this is exciting. Oh wow. Yeah, it actually hooks pretty well when you're up and moving. And it actually I mean, again, it doesn't feel quite as good as the new Raptor, but it stays pretty dang planted. This is actually a lot better than I thought it would be. This thing's so fun. And we got a little tunnel underpass thingy, whatever you want to call it, coming up here. So we're gonna slow down a little bit, and of course we're gonna punch it through, because you know, that's what we gotta do. This thing's fun. This truck is fun. It really is. So this gives you super similar feelings of acceleration and everything to the TRX. It's not quite as quick, but just the supercharger experience and the exhaust and the acceleration and everything, it's pretty much right there. But also this is two-wheel drive, so it's a little bit more dramatic than the TRX, because the TRX just hooks every single time. Whereas this, on the other hand, you know, you've got some traction issues, right? It doesn't always hook all the time. So yeah, it's definitely more dramatic. So yeah, that'll get me into kind of summing things up, and I'm gonna loop through here so I can give you guys one more acceleration, and also for me as well, because it's fun. So first off, exterior wise, this just looks like a Raptor. It's kind of a sleeper, right? People just see this and be like, oh, it's just a Gen 1 Raptor, right? There's no like, there's nothing that like pops out too much that's like, wow, this thing is something crazy. Interior wise, very nice actually. I love the blue, I really do. And the seats are super comfortable. It's got heated, cooled seats, right? And so it's got like some nice modern luxury amenities. So it's actually nice from an interior perspective. You know, Ford did a really good job with that. And then from a driving experience perspective, it's super nice. It doesn't feel as good as the new generation Raptor, that's for sure. Definitely doesn't feel as good. But sounds a lot better because it's a V8 supercharged, and the acceleration's crazy. It's not TRX level of craziness, but it's more dramatic because you have two-wheel drive with this. And the suspension, right, it's very comfortable. This is a very comfortable daily driver vehicle, but it doesn't stay as compliant as what you get with the new Gen 3 Raptor. It's close though. But I mean, you know, for the price that this is, I mean, it's oh, for the price that this is, I can't think of another truck that's better. Like this, hands down, is amazing. And even though, and you can tell this is, I mean, I'm able to hoon this before it's been inspected by any mechanics. 120,000 miles. There's no check engine light or anything. Like, it's just doing it perfectly fine. So yeah, this thing, you can tell it's reliable. This is amazing. Yeah, this has got to be like the best truck I have driven this year for the money. Like I said, Larry H. Miller, Ford, Lincoln, and Provo has it if you want to buy it.